sad song I remembered, crying and driving away from you. I had to turn off the radio. Each word it hurt took me right back to the put me down time. Now I'm mad about it all, 'cause I found out where you're gone. Yeah, I'm feeling strong. That familiar sound coming through the speakers now. Turn it up loud, sing at the top of my lungs. Sad song, let it play. I'm better now, anyway. Sad song, let it play. I'm over you, bring on the new day. Bring on the new day. Bring on the new day. Sad song, let it play. Sad song, let it play on. I'm over you, bring on the new day. Shades on, I gotta keep the glare out. I smile and drive to these summer tunes. I'll never find someone else like you. That's what you said, I really hope it's true. All up on my downside, now I'm mad about it all, 'cause I found out where you're gone. Yeah, I'm feeling strong. That familiar sound coming through the speakers now. Turn it up loud, sing at the top of my lungs. Sad song, let it play. I'm better now, anyway. Sad song, let it play. I'm over you, bring on the new day. Bring on the new day. Bring on the new day. Sad song, let it play. Sad song, let it play on. I'm over you, bring on the new day. Sad song, let it play. Let it play on. I'm over you, bring on the new day.
Into the streets, we're coming down. We never sleep, never get tired. True love and feels in suburban life.
You're listening to Chill Your Mind Radio.
Never back down, shoot down the skyline. Watch it on prime time. Turn up the love now. Listen up now. Turn up the love. Who's gonna save the world tonight? Who's gonna bring it back to life? We're gonna make
let's go to the place we'll find better weather and some peace of mind. Oh, you're the reason that I can't get by all day. Let's go to the place where we catch the sun, relax, be free. Nothing about your work that will chase you. Fuck it, throw it all away. They ain't got a thing to say. They ain't got a shit to say. And I'm liking this feeling. I'm high. I'm flying so high, so goodbye. I'm loving this feeling. I'm feeling so good. Is it good? 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 Let's go to the place we'll find better weather and some peace of mind. Oh, you're the reason that I can't get by all day. Let's go to the place where we catch the sun, relax, be free. Nothing about your work that will chase you. Fuck it, throw it all away. They ain't got a thing to say. They ain't got a shit to say. And I'm liking this feeling. I'm high. I'm flying so high, so good.
For more music, check out our Spotify and YouTube playlists. Enjoy.
So good. And I'm liking this feeling. I'm high. I'm flying so high, so goodbye. I'm loving this feeling. I'm feeling so good. I'm loving this feeling. I'm feeling so good. I'm loving this feeling. I'm feeling so good. Just a little home.
Someone's been listening to our calls, tracked every movement they saw, and now they're trying to make a guess if we're gonna last, if we're gonna let go. Oh, 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 sorry to let you know. Oh, 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 I can't be controlled.
I can't believe I came to wrong. I came to run home. I will admit it. I'm dead and gone. I'm just a little home. I'm just a rattling home. Just a rattling home.
Someone's been listening to our calls, tracked every movement they saw, and now they're trying to make a guess if we're gonna last, if we're gonna let go. Oh, 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 sorry to let you know. Oh, 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 I can't be controlled.
I can't believe I came to wrong. I came to run home. I
still see you in the dark. We don't go when the bar shuts down. No, baby, keep me spinning around. We go up for the night till we can't get any higher. Out for the night till dawn. We go up for the night, baby, can you feel this fire? Out for the night, so bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on, yeah, keep me going strong. talk since we left, it's so overdue. It's cold outside, but between us it's worse than the world slows down, but my heart beats fast right now. I know this is the part where the end starts. I can't take it any longer. Thought that we were stronger. All we do is linger, slipping through our fingers. I don't wanna try now. All that's left's goodbye to find a way that I can tell you I hate this part right here. I hate this part right here. I just can't take your tears. I hate this part right here. Every day, 7 takes of the same old scene. Seems we're bound by the laws of the same routine. Gotta talk to you now before we go to sleep. But will we sleep once I tell you what's hurting me? The world slows down, but my heart beats fast right now. I know this is the part where the end starts. I can't take it any longer. Thought that we were stronger. All we do is linger, slipping through our fingers. I don't wanna try now. All that's left's goodbye to find a way that I can tell you I hate this part right here. I hate this part right here. I just can't take your tears. I hate this part right here. I hate this part right here. I hate this part right here. I just can't take your tears. I hate this part right here. You say he won't know what's going on, but secrets like this never last for long.
Well, good morning in that. Yeah, it's Uncle Lou here. That's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Hey, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Also in too. Addition to that as well. Happy Tuesday. If you're in Georgia, you probably got some bad weather. It's supposed to rain here. Started in the middle of the night last night. I think it's supposed to rain for the next couple of days. I'm not going to complain though, because the weather's been great here for the last couple of weeks, I guess. In the 70s, almost up into the 80s, sunny. And the pollen is getting real bad here. And the best thing to get rid of this pollen is rain. It'll knock it all down. So it's not going to hurt my feelings if it rains for a couple of days. I can deal with it. Anyway, how y'all doing? We got Grayson coming on today. Do I have your phone number, Grayson? I guess I probably have it from last time. Let me see. What is this? And you done sent me some kind of what is this? You done made some kind of a spreadsheet and sent me here. Kendall Milton. Look what you did. Trying to find your phone number, though. Where are you? Here you are. All right, I got your number. I'll call you in a few minutes. We'll put you on. Somebody hid McDonald's? Oh, man. McDonald's hates me. Remember when the McDonald's lawyer sent me an email demanding I take that video down? Mountaineer Mike, thank you for the super chat, sir. I think I saw where you sent a PayPal this morning, too. I'll look at that in a second. Is it too slob to miss full service gas stations? No. Do they still have those in New Jersey, though? It's been a while ago, but I drove through New Jersey one time, and all of the gas stations were full service gas stations. Like, there was they had some kind of a law or regulation or something. You couldn't put your own gas in your car. It was weird. They still have that? Does anybody know? In New Jersey? But no, they don't have that down here anymore. For a long time, there was one gas station. If you're familiar with the Augusta area, it was on the corner of Wheeler Road and Walton Way Extension. It was a Chevron station. And that was like the last remaining full-service gas station in Augusta. It had the little wires that ran across the not parking lot, but the pavement in front of the in front of the fuel pumps, and you would run over the little wire as you pulled up to the fuel pump, and it would make the little dinging noise, ding ding, and a guy would come out and put gas in your car. But that's been over for a long time. But that was the last remaining one here, and that's probably been gone 10 years now. But I drove through New Jersey, now this has probably been 12 or 13 years ago at least. Well, no, it was about 12 or 13 years ago because my daughter was 1 or 2 years old. So 08 or 09, something like that. I drove through New Jersey, and all the gas stations there were full service. Celine says that's still the case. Okay. Yeah. Now, you had to pay more for that. Even that station here, like, I don't know, let's say gas was $2 a gallon. If you went there, it would be $2.20 or something. You paid more to have someone else put the gas in your car. I don't know if that's the case in New Jersey or not, since they're all that way. I have no idea. Y'all ready for some March Madness this coming weekend? What does it start Thursday? Is there a play-in game today or Wednesday or something? But really, it starts Thursday with the all-day basketball. You have basketball all day from 11 in the morning until midnight, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm not a huge college basketball fan, but if you can't get into March Madness, you know, something might be wrong with you. Not sure. You know, a lot of people who aren't really football fans will watch the Super Bowl. You know, it's one of the most watched events on TV every single year. March Madness is kind of the same way for me. You know, college basketball is the most meaningless regular season in all of sports, so I don't waste my time watching that. But March Madness is exciting. I'll be watching that this weekend. We have me and Pete over on the Lunch Money Show, which, of course, started as a gambling show, and it still kind of is. We'll talk about gambling on there whenever there's something to talk about. Pete made one of those bracket challenges. You know what I'm talking about? The link is in the description of the video. Maybe, let me see. I'll post it in it's right here. I'll post it in the comment section too. Yeah, that should work. The group name is Lunch Money, and the password is $Bill. You can look in the description of this video, and it'll tell you all that. The password is $Bill. I think there's no spaces. I think it's capital D and capital B. But anyway, if you look in the description of this video, it'll give you the information you need. Get yourself signed up for this bracket challenge for bragging rights, and see how you can do picking this NCAA tournament. It's free to do. For those of you who are degenerate gamblers like myself and Pigskin Pete, we're doing a $5 pool, winner take all. Send the $5 to my PayPal. Where's that? Oh, yeah. Here's the PayPal. Send $5 to the PayPal. It's winner take all. I've got a list of everybody that sent the $5 last night. We'll do it today. I'll mention it tonight on the night show too. So if 10 people send it, that's $50 to the winner. You don't have to do that though. The challenge is free. So anybody that wants to do it can do it. Just click the link, go in there and pick your winners. And we'll keep up with it over the next few weeks during March Madness to see who's winning. If you want to try to win some money though, just send $5 to the PayPal. We'll take all the money will go to the winner. We'll do winner take all. So there you go. I've got a list going here. So we'll add it up as we go. Mike Reiser, thank you for hitting the PayPal this morning, sir. Let's see what he has to say. What's the difference between a blonde and a bowling ball? I can only put 3 fingers in a bowling ball. Yikes. Okay. Thank you for supporting the show, Mr. Reiser. Which you consistently support this show, sir. I do appreciate that. Doesn't go unnoticed. Doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you for supporting the channel, supporting Uncle Lou, supporting LouTube. Really, you know what you're doing? You're supporting small business. That's what I should start. That's a good way to put it. Everybody likes to support small business. At least they like to type about it on Facebook while they're on the way to Walmart to buy whatever they need. Support small business. And they go to Walmart and buy their socks and all that. But support small business by clicking that super chat icon down there or clicking the PayPal link. There you go. Small businesses are the backbone of society. Any football news? If your team hasn't started spring practice, they're starting soon. Soon as in today or tomorrow or next week at the latest. Everybody will be underway with this spring football here pretty soon. Georgia starts, I believe, tomorrow. Some teams have already started. Hell, some teams have just about wrapped up. Some teams do it real early. And then this news is a few days old. Might even be from last week, or maybe it was over the weekend. And I haven't talked about it on any of the shows, but they're looking to change the overtime rules. Have y'all heard about this? They're looking to change the overtime rules for college football. I don't know. I kind of like the way overtime works in college football. Not perfect, but I think it's better than the NFL. But here's what they're looking to do. Right now, what is it right now? Is it starting in the third overtime or the fourth overtime? What is it? You have to go for two. I think right now it's starting in the third overtime, right? Is that correct? You have to go for two if you score a touchdown now, starting in I think it's the third overtime. They're changing that. Now in the second overtime, you have to go for two. Now, this is a proposal right now. It hasn't been approved. A proposal has been submitted, and it has to be voted on later in the summer. But here's what they want to do. They want to require teams to run a 2-point play after scoring a touchdown in the second overtime. After that, they would run nothing but alternating 2-point plays if the game goes to 3 overtimes or longer. So, right now in college football, you get the ball at the 25-yard line. If you score a touchdown, you can either kick an extra point or go for two. And then the other team gets the ball. When it gets to the third overtime, you have to go for two. And if you make it, the other team gets the ball on the 25. If they score, they get a chance to go for two to tie it up. You guys know how it works now. They want to change it. The first overtime would be the same like it is now. The second overtime, you would have to go for two if you scored. And then in the third overtime, you wouldn't get the ball at the 25-yard line. You would get the ball at the 2.5-yard line, and you would get one play to run a 2-point conversion. So if it goes more than 2 overtimes, it would just be 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, until somebody makes it and someone misses it, and you have a winner. So they would do away with the starting at the 25-yard line thing after the second overtime. How do y'all feel about that? Currently, teams are required to run a 2-point play after a touchdown if the game reaches 3 overtimes, and would then run alternating 2-point plays once a game reaches the 5th overtime. The rule changes must be approved by the NCAA Rules Oversight Panel, which is scheduled to discuss the recommendations on April 22nd. So a little over a month from now, I guess maybe they'll make a decision on that. But what do y'all think about that? Starting in the third overtime, no more starting on the 25-yard line in the third overtime. You would just run a 2-point play. I guess it would make the overtimes go quicker. We haven't had a lot of them, but there's been a few. Was it LSU and Texas A&M went to like 7 or 8 overtimes a few years ago? It really skews I think the score at the end of regulation in that LSU Texas A&M game was something like 30-30 or 31-31. It was something like that. And then the final score was like 60, whatever, the final score was like 63-62 or whatever it ended up being. They scored more points in overtime than they did in the regular game because it went 7 overtimes. So we wouldn't have any more of that. They would start running 2-point plays, and that's it in the third overtime. Not a 2-point play if you score in the third overtime. The only play you would run would be a 2-point conversion. So basically a 2.5-yard play to score a touchdown is what that comes down to. So I don't know. I don't know. Most games, I don't know what the percentage is. It's got to be over 90% though. Of overtime games are decided within the first 2 overtime periods. So this wouldn't affect a large number of games. But like that Texas that Texas A&M LSU game from a few Thanksgivings ago, even if you weren't watching that game, by the time it got to the third or fourth overtime, you were watching it because everywhere you went you know, if you went on Facebook or Twitter, or that's all anybody was, oh my God, they're in the third overtime. Oh my God, they're in the fourth overtime. You know, there was probably twice as many people watching the ending of that game as watched the first 4 quarters of that game, you know. So it does get exciting. It is fun to see, I guess, when a game gets into that many overtime periods. I guess they're doing this for health and safety reasons. You know, these players have got to be worn out by the time this thing gets into 2, 3, 4, 5 overtimes. And I guess it's easier to be injured when you're fatigued like that. And then also, it would speed things up. I mean, that Texas A&M LSU game ended up lasting, 5 hours or whatever it was. So, you know, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if this gets passed, though, I get in April, I guess, when they're meeting, or the final decision in the summer. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is what they. It wouldn't surprise me if this is what they go ahead and decide to do in this pass. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, you know what they really need to speed up is baseball. My God. They need to find a way to speed baseball up, don't they? How long does a baseball last anymore? 4 hours? How long does it take to play a baseball game now? Baseball games are way too long and boring. I know there's a lot of baseball fans out there, and I used to be one of them. There was no bigger baseball fan than me 20 years ago, but 25 years ago, but I lost interest. You watch these games now, they take 2 days to play. You know, the pitcher has to walk around the mound 5 times between pitches, and then finally he gets ready to throw the ball. The batter has to step out of the batter's box and re-Velcro his gloves 9 times. What is that about? Does anyone know? It seems like it's not doing anything. It seems like a nervous tick or something. You know, like something Rain Man would have to, like some kind of OCD thing, like people who have to go check the oven 25 times a day to make sure it's not turned on. What are you doing? What you just adjusted your Velcro straps on your batting gloves after the last pitch. Have they somehow come loose? You didn't even swing. It was a ball 2 feet outside. You didn't even swing the bat. You literally just stood there. Now you've got to readjust your Velcro for 5 minutes again. It just gets so irritating. I mean, it's painful to watch. They got to step out of the batter's box for 10, 15 seconds between every pitch. Why? What are you doing? You've seen them, these people, and they unstrap, strap, unstrap, strap, adjust and readjust. And I'll do the other glove. Or it'll be the first inning. It'll be the top of the first inning, the first batter of the game, on a sunny day in a city where it hasn't rained in 6 months. The batter walks up to the batter's box. He does his straps 15 times on his gloves. He finally gets in there. The pitcher circles the mound 5 times. Walks up on the pitcher's mound, stares at the catcher. And then just when he's about to start his wind-up, what happens? The batter puts his hand up to the umpire and steps back out of the box. And what does he do? He takes the bat and hits it on the bottom of his shoes. Hey, dumbass, it's the top of the first inning, and it hasn't rained in 6 months. What is it you think you're knocking off of your shoes? There's nothing on your shoes. Now get back in the batter's box. They need some rules to speed baseball up. More people would watch. More people watch an NFL preseason game than watch a baseball World Series game. Okay? Well, going to a game going to a game can be different than watching it on TV, but yeah, and bring back the steroids too. Bring that back. That was the last time I watched. There's been 2 times in the last 3 times. There's been 3 times in the last 20 years I've been interested in baseball, or 25 years. The first time was the home run chase. That was interesting. You know? I remember sitting in the living room every night, and ESPN, it didn't matter what ESPN was showing. It didn't even matter if they were showing a baseball game, it didn't matter what baseball game they were showing. They showed every at-bat that Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire took. No matter what game they were showing, no matter what was going on in that game, they would cut away every single time Barry Bonds came to the plate so we could watch him hit a ball into, what is it? What is it? What cove? McCovey Cove or whatever the hell. You know. And then 5 minutes later, we got to cut away. Mark McGwire's coming up to bat, and we'd get to watch that. And they would show us Sammy Sosa 5 minutes after that. That was exciting. Bring back steroids. The other time I watched was when the Cubs made and ended up winning the World Series, and it was the first time since 1908 or 1918, whatever it was, 1918, I think. I did watch some of every game of that World Series, and once the Cubs had won 3 games and just needed one more to clinch the World Series, I watched the entire game. That's probably the last time I watched an entire baseball game. So what year was that? One of you baseball type people. What year was that the Cubs won the World Series? Was it like 2006 or something? When was that? 2016. They won before that, didn't they? Was it 2016? Whenever it was. That's the last time I watched. 2016, okay. That's the last time I watched a complete baseball game. The third and final time I've gotten interested in baseball in the last 20 or 25 years was only a couple of years ago when the Braves had that, and I don't know, maybe they still have him, I don't know. That's the other problem with baseball. You have to learn a brand new roster every year because of free agency, but what's the name of that young kid that the Braves had that was so good sometime in the last couple of years? What was his name? What was his name? And is he still with the Braves? Shoot. See, I don't pay enough attention now. I can't even remember the guy's name now. Yeah, Ronald Acuna. Yeah. Is it Ronald? Ronald Acuna? Him. Not him. Him, Ronald Acuna. Was he a rookie? I think he was a rookie. Maybe it was his second year. Anyway, he was one of the hottest young players in the league. He had hit a home run in how many games in a row did he hit a home run in? And he comes up to bat against the, I believe it was the Marlins. And they just beaned the shit out of him for no reason. It damn near broke his elbow, too. He ended up having to sit out for a while. And anyway, that was a huge deal because, oh no, the Marlins have broke one of these unwritten rules in baseball. Baseball is the only sport that has more unwritten rules than they do written rules. It's really strange. You are allowed to bean people, but only under certain conditions and circumstances. And a guy being a rookie and hitting several home runs in a row apparently isn't one of those circumstances that allows you to bean him for no reason. So he comes up to bat and they beaned him right in the elbow. He ended up having to miss some games too. But he had hit how many home runs in a row? And of course it pissed the Braves off. And so then, this is the other thing that's weird about baseball. Baseball's like typer trolls. They want to schedule shit for 6 months down the road. I don't understand this. If you're mad, do something now. But no, the Marlins being Acuna. So then every time the Braves and the Marlins play for the next 6 months, we all have to tune in to see, is this going to be the day that the Braves retaliate? Nope, not today. Tune in 3 weeks when they have another series and all this kind of thing. So I watched, and like an idiot, I did it. He reeled me right on in. Every time the Braves played the Marlins that year, my dumbass would watch it because I wanted to see a brawl. That's all. I wanted to see a brawl. That's it. It seems to me, what should have happened when they beaned Acuna? Okay. Now the Braves get out, whatever the hell. The Marlins come up to bat. The first guy that stepped up to the plate should have got beaned. That should have been that. That should have been it. The first person should have got hit. But no. Baseball's like typer trolls. They scheduling this shit for 6 months down the road. The Braves are crying to the media after the game, wanting the Marlins to meet them at Walgreens and all this weird shit. But anyway, those are the only 3 times. And there must be a lot of trolls in here this morning. It's like the third person I've seen get thrown in a pit of misery. Oh. Looks like Bill Burr might have mommy issues. Bill Burr might have mommy issues. What a shame. Who's winning the NCAA tourney? Someone tell me. Please, someone tell me. Mike Reiser and Celine Driver, I got you. I see where you. I see you on the PayPal, so I'm adding you to the list now. There's a link to an NCAA bracket challenge, whatever they're called, tournament challenge, in the description of this video. It's free to join. There's a group name and a password. All the information is listed in the description of the video. So if you want to fill out one of these brackets and see how you do compared to the rest of us here on YouTube, click that link. Get your bracket filled out. And we'll, bragging rights thing. And it's free. Anyone can do it. Doesn't cost any money. For those of you who are degenerate gamblers, though, we're making a pool, winner take all, and it's just $5 to get in. So just send $5 to my PayPal. That link's in the description too. And I have a list going of everybody that's sending $5 in, and we'll track the results. Actually, the thing tracks the results for you. So whoever has the most amount of points when the tournament is over of the people that sent the $5 in, you'll win however much gets sent in. If 10 people get in, you'll win $50. You know what I'm saying? 20 people get in, you'll win 100. That kind of thing. How'd y'all do in the stock market yesterday, though? How'd y'all do in the stock market yesterday? Lizard Circus, thank you for hitting the super chat, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the show. He says, good morning, Lou. I find out when my hip surgery is today. Whoa, Todd. Well, that's good. It's always good to know when your surgery is going to be. The only thing worse than surgery is a surprise surgery, show up to get your blood pressure taken, and they, hip surgery. So it's nice of them to let you know when that's going to be. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Ben Easterling says, I made big money yesterday. Well, congrats to you, sir. I made some money on AMC yesterday, and I sold it. I sold it pretty close to the high, too. I sold it for $14.20 or something a share. I was in at 9 something a share. I did okay. I had an option on it too at $12. That hooked me up too. Yeah, anybody can join it. The link is in the description. There's a group name and a password. All the information is in the description of this video. Anybody can join. It's free to join. If you want to try to win some money, that's the optional part. If you want to try to win some money, send $5 to my PayPal. I have a list of everybody that sends the $5. So, if, like I said, if 10 people send $5 in, the winner among those 10 people will receive $50. If 20 people send it in, $100. You get the idea, but that's optional. But anybody can join the bracket just for fun and for bragging rights. Yeah. Scott Kerr, thank you, sir. He says, Lou, ask any of these folks where the hell Gonzaga is. Isn't it in, shoot, do I even know? Is it in Washington State? Who knows where Gonzaga is? I think it's in Washington State. Now, I don't know where. My guess would be that it's not in Seattle. My guess would be it's not where the Washington Huskies are, and it's not where Washington State Cougs are. My guess would be it's somewhere else, but I honestly have no idea. It's in Spokane, Washington, Blake. Blake Cone? I probably pronounced that wrong, but I didn't name you. Nappy Win is here. Morning, Nappy Win. Nappy Win says, I like Ladyboy. I don't think anyone's going to disagree as far as you liking Ladyboy. I don't think you're going to have to convince anybody of that. I can tell you right now, I believe you. I believe you. Who else is here today? Tyler Buckner, future Heisman winner, is here. Big Dog Brett, the slob champion, is here. Everyone bow down. Big Dog Brett is in the house. 2021 Slob Olympics champion. Morning to you, sir. Jacob Robinson. Sea Dog Morgan. Man. Got to get you on here to play the kazoo. Issaquah Jeans is here. Lost Aggie. Sea Dog West. Jeremy Garrettson. Bill Burr is back. We'll see how long he manages to stick around. My guess is it won't be long. Celine Driver, Dago, good morning, sir. Hank Adams. Friction Vixen is here. Also at the Slob Olympics. The Real Big Lee, The Farm. JoJo Bugs. Appreciate y'all tuning in. As far as what's coming up, we're going to add Grayson to the show here in a few minutes and see what he's up to. But as far as what's coming up on the morning show on Thursday, we have David coming on. That'll be his first time on the show, I believe. I'm pretty sure. He emailed me. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about when I went to Germany, I think. And he emailed me, and he had just got back from Germany. He'd been over there for 5 years. And we emailed back and forth, and he's going to come on the show tomorrow. And Friday, of course, is Family Feud. So I've emailed most people back who wanted to be on Family Feud, depending on when you emailed me. If you emailed me about Family Feud and I haven't emailed you back, I'll email you back. I'll email you back either this afternoon or tomorrow. Wednesday is usually when I do most of my emailing. I don't have any live shows on Wednesday, so I have some extra time. So if you haven't heard back from me yet and you sent an email about the Family Feud, you'll get an email today or tomorrow. But basically, anybody that wants to come on can come on, unless we end up having 20 people that want to come on. And then what I'll do is we'll just do Family Feud again the following Friday with the people that didn't get to do it the first time. 5 or so people per team is about the most we can do, I think. Any more than that, I think would be too much. But either way, I'll email you and let you know this Friday, next Friday, whatever we decide to do. But that's going to be on Friday. That'll be fun too. We'll start that at 8:30. We have 2 captains. They know who they are. Everyone else that's doing the Family Feud is going to call in. I'm going to have everybody call in at the same time. I'm going to put everybody on the air at the same time. I'm going to read off everybody who's on the call, everybody that's doing the Family Feud, and then the captains will take turns picking their teams among the people that call in. And we're going to play Family Feud and see who can win. So that's on Friday. And next week, hell, I don't have a clue. I have no idea. If you want to be on the show, though, email me. We got some openings for next week. So if you want to be a guest on the show one day, send me an email, crazyunclelou@gmail.com, crazyunclelou@gmail.com. Let me know if there's a day or something that works better for you. If you can only come on for 30 minutes, if there's a certain time you can come on, like Sea Dog Morgan at one time, he couldn't come on until 9. We had him on at 9. It's no problem. We'll work around whatever type of schedule you have and everything like that. So you just have to let me know. No, I don't like StreamYard. Georgia Forever, I got you down too. Then you sent $5 to the PayPal. So now, if anybody sends $5, I'm assuming it's for the tournament thing. So I'm just anybody that sends exactly $5, I'm just adding you to the tournament list. All right. Let's add Grayson to the show. I think everybody's just about tired of hearing me talk. See if I dialed the right number.
Good morning, Lou.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I don't know it. You doing all right this morning?
Man, I'm doing great.
Yeah, that's good. Me too. Trying to get motivated. I don't know. A little hard to get motivated this morning. A little rain.
Yeah.
It got me feeling slow.
Yeah, it's headed this way too. It looks like it's nighttime outside down here. So it'll be here soon. And I think it's supposed to rain for 2 or 3. I think it's supposed to rain today, tomorrow, and Thursday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be getting some bad weather after all these nice days we've been having. We're about due for it, I guess.
Yeah, it has been nice.
But doing good otherwise.
Well, that's good. Now you were on a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and we talked all about your story, and I think I told you. I don't remember if I just told you on what I saw you in the comment, or maybe I told you in Atlanta or whatever. But I got so many emails from people about when you came on last time that really inspired by the things you had to say. Now, we're not going to get into all that again. We did that. We're going to talk some football and some other stuff today. But now you were at the Slob Olympics.
Oh, yes.
Now, what was that like? There's a lot of people that wanted to go. Like I'd love to go to some national championship games in football, or I'd love to go to a Super Bowl one day, but I may never get the opportunity to go. There's a lot of people in the comment section who sat around going, "Man, I wish I could go to the Slob Olympics." What was it like to be at the Slob Olympics?
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I'd have to say it. If it's not the spectator event of 2021, then I don't know what else would be. And I'll tell you, I had a different experience, I think, than a lot of the people, especially the participants, because I got to sit back. I was just on the sidelines, just viewing, cheering people on, just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. It was awesome. The whole thing. Me and Friction Vixen, we got there early, and got a chance to meet some of you guys, and that was good. And but yeah, the whole thing was just awesome. The whole day. Always something going on. Always something to see. Like I said, the events were awesome. The other spectators were awesome. I know Lizard Circus had me cracking up. Some of his side commentary over there.
Yeah.
Just had me rolling the whole time. But I just so happy I could make it too. Glad we decided to come. Glad we got out there.
Yeah, I was glad you came too. It was nice to meet y'all. I've said this to everybody. I feel like I didn't get a chance to spend as much time with everybody as I wanted to, but I did catch up with y'all there in the Hall of Fame for a while right before y'all left, and got to talk with y'all for a while.
Well, there was so much going on. There was stuff constantly happening. We were, you guys were coming up with some stuff on the fly as far as where we were doing stuff with the park being shut down. And it was hectic. I mean, there was a lot of people there that I didn't get to talk to much, but I've been following them since, and it was good to see them. It's good to put a face with some, with some of these people in the comments, or just some of the other people in this community. It was just, it was good. And, everybody was super nice. Everybody was having a good time, which was awesome. I think that was part of the best thing, Yeah.
And y'all came, I think wasn't it y'all that brought the donuts?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Sure did.
Yeah. Yes. Immediate legend status when you did that. And we ended up using, your donuts ended up playing a prominent part in the Slob Olympics.
Yeah, I saw that. I was surprised. I thought it was just going to be fuel. I thought there was it was just going to be an in-between event type of thing. I know these slobs need some energy to get going. But, yeah, I didn't know you guys were planning on using them for the opening ceremony, and I was just delighted to see that, really.
Yeah, nothing will give you 5 minutes worth of energy followed by an immediate crash like a donut will. That's for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, but we ended up sticking one of the donuts on the end of Mike Vick's sword, as he was the honorary torch bearer for the Slob Olympics. And then, of course, Chess Hall took a bite off of the donut while it was on the sword, which was great. Was there anything... And you can, you have permission to speak freely. I've talked to everyone that was there, so don't worry about it. Was there anything there or anyone there that surprised you?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to have to say no, because going in, I didn't really know what to expect or who was going to surprise me. I kind of was expecting to be amazed, expecting to be surprised by the people. I'll tell you this, and I know you've kind of touched on this. I was surprised at how bad some of the people, or pretty much all the Slavs, were at throwing and kicking a football.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah,
I
was too.
Amazing. The skill level.
No one individual really surprised me because you can be good at throwing a football, but if you only have 2 opportunities, you could go 0 for 2. Yep. But that almost everybody went 0 for 2, that surprised me. That was the big, as far as the events went, or the outcome of the events, that was the biggest surprise to me, was that I think only 3 out of the 18 people scored any points at all in the football throw contest. That was surprising. Yeah, I agree with you there.
I was more surprised by some of the people that did get up there and boom the field goal. Yeah.
Some of the girls that weren't even in the Slav Olympics were 100 times better than me at kicking the ball.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think they had more talent on the sidelines, which that goes, I think, unsaid with the Slav Olympics. The wives, I think, would have embarrassed half of the field. Definitely would have shamed people.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to agree with you there. What'd you think? Had you been to the Hall of Fame before? I don't remember.
I had not. That was the first time being up there at the Hall of Fame. I enjoyed it. I was glad I went. Just one of those things where I can, kind of say I've gone now, but I wasn't overly impressed.
Right.
With it.
I think that's all it is. I had tried to because I had been there before. I had tried to warn people as best. I didn't want to make it sound like it was terrible, because I wanted people to form their own impressions. But I did try to let people know, like, it's not like any other Hall of Fame you might have been to. I mean, you're not going to see Newt Rockney's clipboard, or you're not going to see Rudy's cleats and all that. That's kind of the problem with college football. Like, if you want to see Herschel Walker's jersey from 1980, it's probably on display somewhere at UGA. If you want to see, whatever, all this stuff is spread out all over the country. A lot of the schools keep this stuff. There's not a lot of like memorabilia type stuff really at the Hall of Fame. It's a lot of just informational stuff. Like, they'll have a picture of whoever, and then a display of plaques that gives you a bunch of information about them, and a lot of interactive stuff where you touch a TV screen and it'll show up. If you're a Texas fan, you can touch a TV screen and it'll show you Vince Young scoring the touchdown in the 2005 Rose Bowl, or whatever it was. But yeah, it's not.
There was definitely a lot of information there. It's like you're saying, with the interactive screens. I did enjoy that. You could walk up and, you could have spent all day just reading stories about players or games or rivalries or stuff like that. And like you said, it would automatically pop to your team. But if you wanted to look at other teams or anything like that, like I said, you could have spent all day in there looking at that type of stuff. But
and they they did have like they'll have like one Heisman Trophy in there. They have one national championship trophy from each era. So they'll have a playoff trophy in there, so you can see what the current trophy looks like. And they have a BCS trophy in there, and then they have like an AP trophy in there from when they didn't even have the BCS and all that. But if you're a football fan, it's worth going once. It's not had it not been for this, I wasn't sitting around before the Slav Olympics came around. I wasn't sitting around going, man, I would love to go back to the College Football Hall of Fame. I had done it, and I'm glad I had done it, and I took my son, and that's like we'll have that memory forever. But it's not. If you were to rank like the Hall of Fames, it would be near the bottom, I'm sure. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame, although it's been 25. I went in the late 90s, but you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, there's a bat there from Mickey Mantle. There's a glove there from Nolan Ryan. There's a batting glove from Rickey Henderson. There's cool stuff to see there. There's pieces of it's more like a museum, the Baseball Hall of Fame. There's items there. There's artifacts there. There's pieces of history there. There's not a whole lot of pieces of history at the College Football Hall of Fame. It's a lot of TV screens, a lot of TV screens, and then they have some other stuff. Like they have an entire college game day booth, whatever it is, the game day people sit at. They have an entire one of those built, and you can go in there and sit down, and it records you, and then when you watch it back, it looks like you're sitting between Desmond Howard and Kirk Herbstreit or whoever it is, and the mascot head comes and sits on top of your head of whatever team you pick to win. There's stuff like that, and then of course the thing at the end where the actual kind of indoor football field is, where we did the kicking and the throwing and the and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not. I think I'm not a diehard baseball fan. I made that clear earlier in the show.
Yeah.
I can still go to the Baseball Hall of Fame and have it's still cool to me to walk through the Baseball Hall of Fame, and see the shoes that Cal Ripken wore when he broke the consecutive game streak or whatever. I don't know that that's in there. I'm just making it up, but there's a ton of that kind of stuff in there. Hank Aaron's last home run ball, whatever you want to see. It's all that. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in there. If you're not a college football fan, the College Football Hall of Fame has got to be probably one of the most boring things of all time.
I would have to agree with that. Yeah, if you weren't into college football, that would definitely be a waste of your time.
Yeah.
I would think you wouldn't enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get up to Cooperstown, the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm a pretty big baseball fan, and been wanting to make that trip. So that's good to hear that's hopefully going to be worthwhile when and if I make it up there.
Yeah, that's the only other one I've ever been to. I've never been to the NFL Hall of Fame. I've never been to the Basketball Hall of Fame, but I have been to the Baseball Hall of Fame back when I was in high school, and that was cool. And back then I was still. I was still playing baseball. I was still watching baseball on TV back then, so I'm sure that had something to do with it too. But like I said, even if you're not a diehard baseball fan, if you're just a casual, or even if you're like me, where you used to love baseball and not so much anymore, it's still cool to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame and see all this, the memorabilia that's there and stuff like that. And that's what's missing from the College Football Hall of Fame. And like I said, I guess it's because the schools keep a lot of this stuff for themselves, I'm assuming, instead of sending it or donating it to the Hall of Fame. Like I said, there'll be one Heisman Trophy there. I don't even remember whose it was, but there's one Heisman Trophy there. There's one National Title Trophy there. There's one Maxwell Award Trophy there. There's one Lou Groza Award Trophy there. On and on and on. So you get to see what the trophy looks like, basically. But as far as whose trophy it is, or, such and such, somebody's jersey. I think they did have DeVonta Smith actual uniform from this past season was there, I think.
Yeah, it was.
But that's it. And then next year that'll be gone, and there'll be something, somebody else's uniform will be there. It's not like there's just tons and tons and tons and tons of like memorabilia or old items or anything like that there to look like. It can be a little disappointing, especially if that's what you're expecting. It's different. It's got like I said, I've only ever been to the Baseball Hall of Fame, so I don't have a lot to compare it to. But the Baseball Hall of Fame was more like a museum. This is nothing like a museum. I mean, this is I don't even really know how to describe it, but again, I don't want to scare anybody off from going. If you're on this channel, you're a college football fan, and if you have an opportunity to go to the College Football Hall of Fame, you should go once.
Yeah.
And then you'll never really have a reason to ever want to go again. But it was fun to do it as a group like that, though. When I'd done it before, it was just me and my kid, and that was great too in a different way. This was fun too, to do the whole Slob Olympics thing and then kind of end it by all of us walking through the College Football Hall of Fame. So, it was pretty cool.
And I agree. I think too, if you had a younger kid or a kid that was in, a college football fan, I think they may enjoy some of the stuff, or may appreciate it more. Yeah, I don't know. They had an interactive game up there that was not working at the time. It was like you could play quarterback and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw that, but that wasn't working. And they also had some kind of like a film or a short movie up there. We didn't go in and watch that, but it was supposed to be from like the players and coaches' perspective. But so those were two things that they didn't even take advantage of or get to do. But so
yeah. And some of that stuff is pretty cool. Like the fact that it's so interactive. I like that.
Yeah.
But I wish they had that in addition to some college football history, like actual history that you could see. Like I don't know, the first football, the football that was used when Rutgers played whoever the hell it was they played in the first college football game or whatever. Like nothing like that is there. And you see stuff like that at the Baseball Hall of Fame. You can see a pair of shoeless Joe Jackson's shoes at the Baseball Hall of Fame, I mean, there's stuff like that there. And it's I'm a history nerd. I was a history major in college. So that, like, when I go, like, we go to New York every few years. I've been to all the museums. Like, that stuff interests me. Some people could care less, and I get that. But when I walked through the Baseball Hall of Fame, it was more like a museum. I like seeing, I like seeing some of that stuff, and that's definitely missing from the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I heard you talking about baseball earlier.
Yeah.
And about them speeding the game up. I got a couple things. I don't know if you've heard about some of these new rules they're trying to put in this year. And they put some of them in last year to try to speed up the game, but they're doing some interesting stuff in the minor leagues that I was curious about your opinion on.
Yeah, what's that?
So they're implementing a 15-second pitch clock for pitchers. You know how pitchers get up there, and after they get on the rubber, they'll sit in, look at the sign. Sometimes they'll shake off the sign, sit there, come set, that type of thing. So for seems like a minute or two, they're implementing a 15-second pitch clock for when they step on the rubber. They have to pitch within 15 seconds.
So what's the penalty?
A ball.
Oh, so they're actually going to, okay.
I believe that's how they were doing it.
Well.
And they implemented this a couple years ago with a 20-second pitch clock, and it sped the game up some. But it's one of those things where people start figuring out ways to kind of sidestep it or get around it, or
Now, that 20 seconds is going to start over every single time the batter steps out of the box to redo his Velcro on his gloves 19 times, isn't it?
That would be correct. Or let's just say an eyelash fell in a pitcher's eye and he had to step off the rubber. Yeah. It would reset then too. So I mean, it's a good effort to try to speed it up, but it's
the thing with the batting gloves. The thing with the batting gloves, that has to just be some kind of mental. There's nothing wrong with your batting gloves after you watch the pitcher throw one ball. Now you have to step out of the batter's box and redo your batting gloves for 22 seconds. No, you don't. It's got to be some kind of a mental tick, a routine or something that you just have to do. I don't, but it just seems like everybody does it.
Well, I think that hitting the baseball, especially at the major league level, is got to be one of the hardest things to do. Period.
Yeah,
and it's such an instinctual thing. It's like if you're up there thinking about something else, you're really going to struggle. So you need to have a clear mind, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's just one of those things where they have to feel super comfortable, have to get everything just right, have to go through these rituals almost to get their mind right and get up there and block everything else out and try to hit this ball coming at you about 100 miles an hour. But it is a little ridiculous sometimes. I will agree with that. It just seems, it definitely seems ridiculous.
Did you play baseball as a kid?
I did. I played up through high school, even coached after high school. That was really my passion. Pitched, played, shortstop. Was pretty good. Could have done some stuff a little bit different. Like I said, late in my high school career, I kind of got off got off track a little, we'll say. But I love baseball. That was my main passion. Playing sports growing up.
Yeah.
And still follow it, still like it. I love the game.
That was my first love as a kid too. I guess I played from the time I was 4 years old, starting in T-ball. My dad coached up through Little League, and then I played middle school ball and I played high school ball for 1 year, 9th grade year. But probably around 7th or 8th grade. I started playing baseball when I was 4. I started playing football when I was 8 or 9. And almost right away, I liked football better. I kept with baseball just because I'd always done it. And, but when I got into high school, I decided to just focus on one, and I chose football. And I watched it. I'll freely admit that it's kind of bandwagon behavior, but I grew up a Braves fan because I live here, and we would go to games every summer. My dad would take us to 1 or 2 games every summer and all that kind of stuff. And the Braves were absolutely terrible. This was in the 80s, and with Dale Murphy and Ken Oberkfell and Claudell Washington, and they were awful. But then in the 90s, of course, they were one of the best teams in baseball every single year. Would they win their division 12 years in a row? Something like that.
It may be more than that. I can't remember. I know in 91 they had the big, worst to first type deal. And I remember I was little. I was playing t-ball and just really getting into baseball, and I can remember that. I'm telling you, ever since then I was hooked. And they had that young pitching staff, and just went from being such a terrible team, and to being a perennial division winner. And I don't know. I know they definitely set the record for consecutive division titles, and it
and they only got the one World Series win. But you have to remember, for people that were lifelong Braves fans, it wasn't like being a lifelong Yankees fan, or if you want to do a college football analogy, it wasn't like being a lifelong Alabama fan. So the fact that the Braves, quote unquote, only won one World Series, that was great. Because like you said, they went from basically one of the worst teams in the league to the best team in the league seemingly overnight. The worst, you mentioned the worst to first year. And then after that, it almost got to the point where, as a Braves fan, you didn't even have to pay attention until the postseason because you just knew they were going to be there every single year, And it sucked to lose in the playoffs, and it sucked to lose those World Series. But again, it's not like Braves fans were used to winning World Series. So Braves fans, for the most part, stayed happy during that entire 12-year run or whatever it was, even though they only had the one World Series, because it's not like, they weren't a World Series or bust franchise. They weren't the Yankees. Yeah. So it was a fun time to be a Braves fan. And I, back then I was, that 91, I would have been 13. So I was middle school age when that run started. And so, I still had 9 or 10 o'clock bedtimes back then. But if the Braves were on, my dad would let me and my brother stay downstairs and watch the Braves game until the end. And, back then all the Braves games came on TBS, and they came on at 7 or 7:30, so they would end around 10 or 10:30. Yep. And me and my brother became diehard Braves fans, if for no other reason than because it meant we got to stay up a little bit later.
Oh, I'm in the same boat. And we didn't have cable back then. And TBS was on, over the antenna. So that was one of the sporting events that we got to watch all the time. And it was, we did watch it. It was a, everyday thing. We were watching the Braves when they were on. Sit down, eat dinner, watch the Braves.
And man, they had some, one of my favorite players who Ron Gant.
Oh yeah.
And he sort of fizzled out there. I think he had a motorcycle crash or something when he was kind of in the prime of his career. And I think he came back and played, but he was never really the same type of thing. But his arms, I remember, I mean, he was something to see. And I mean, the list just, I mean, you know, Dave Justice and you know, they brought Fred, who was it? Was it
Fred McGriff,
and Terry Pendleton. I mean, you know, they started bringing in these veteran guys, and everybody knows the pitching. I mean, you know, Smoltz and Avery and Glavin and then Maddox, you know. And I remember John Smoltz got to a point in his career where I don't know what something happened mentally to him. And do you remember his psychiatrist used to sit on the front row behind the dugout? You remember?
John Smoltz? I guess I don't remember that.
Yeah. Wasn't it? The comment section will tell me if I'm wrong. It was one of the pitchers. I think it was John Smoltz.
I remember they had a closer, Mark Wohlers. He was a big guy that threw, you know, 100 plus.
Yeah.
And he had a similar thing. Like he was one of the most dominant closers in the game, and he went from being that to being somebody who couldn't even throw the ball to the catcher. He was throwing it to the backstop and all over the place. And I know that was that's just a mental thing. But I don't recall John Smoltz ever having to go through that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was John Smoltz. Maybe I'm wrong, but and listen, that kind of thing is barely acceptable in society now. Like people, you know, the way people just treat and look at mental illness now is even sad, really. People just don't understand it and all that kind of stuff. It's which is terrible. But back then it was unheard of. Like, and this guy was specifically a sports psychiatrist. And for football fans, I think a good analogy would be like I don't know that this has ever happened, but like defensive backs. They always, and I was a defensive back, and they teach you this early on as a defensive back. Like, forget about the last play. Forget about it. You got burned. It happens. Get over it. You can't. And that was kind of the thing with Smoltz. He had. Golfers go through this too. They have too much. They're thinking too much instead of just, you know, instead of just going out there and throwing the ball. This guy's, you know, he's got a million things going on in his head and all this kind of stuff, and he mind fucks himself. You see this with golfers all the time. And I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong. It was one of those. It was one of the Braves pitchers though. And the damn sports psychiatrist, they would show him every broadcast, and he'd be sitting right behind the dugout. And I'm like, you know, and back then, you know, like the stigma surrounding mental illness was way worse back then than it is now. It's still bad now. But back then it was like, you know, if you know, you didn't even want to admit to anybody that you had a therapist or that you saw a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Like people, you know, they thought it was some kind of a sign of weakness or something, you know. Some people are saying, yeah, it was John Smoltz. Yeah, I can picture the psychiatrist if I close my eyes, I can see that psychiatrist in my head sitting right there behind the dugout. Weird. But man, it was fun. They were fun to watch. They were fun to watch. I mean, you got Sid Bream out there. The guy looked like, you know, when he moved, he looked like he was 80 years old. But God, if you needed his career batting average was probably 200. But when you really needed a hit, he got one. It was the weirdest, like, you know, the guy, first inning, he strike out or whatever, he up by 8, the guy can't hit, you know, the guy can't hit nothing. It come 8th or 9th inning and you're down a run, Sid Bream is getting a hit. Like, you just knew that was going to happen, you know? It was wild to watch. It was, that was a fun team to watch back then.
How about Mark Lemke?
Mark Lemke, yeah, got 5'5". The Braves, man, they had all those. Mark Lemke, Jeff Blauser. I mean, they had all these guys were 5'8", 130 pounds. You know, and again, you know, every hit they got was a single. But hey, it was, you know, at least it was a base runner. At least these guys weren't out here hitting 40 home runs. But I mean, the Braves had some guys that could do that. You know, Ron Gant, Dave Justice. Fred McGriff, whatever, on and on and on. But
Ryan Klesko, when he was
Ryan
young,
Klesko, yeah, Andrew Jones.
Yep.
Andrew Jones, man, he was one of the most naturally gifted athletes I think I've ever seen. You probably knew kids like this when you were younger. I did. You watch I see this at my son's soccer sometimes, depending on where we're playing or where we go. But you'll just look at a kid. I don't know this kid from Adam. I could never have seen this kid before, and I can just watch him run around for 5 minutes, and you just can tell. Okay, that kid could play anything he wanted to play. If he wanted to play quarterback, he'd be the best quarterback in the league. If he wanted to play point guard, he'd be the best point guard in the league. If he wanted to play whatever, and Andrew Jones, you could tell he was that way. The guy was so gifted,
naturally gifted, just talented from the word go. Yeah,
big, fast, strong, quick, talented. I mean, he had it all. Yeah, he had it all.
He'd been doing it a while and had, I totally agree. He has to be the best center fielder I've ever seen play. You couldn't hit a ball over his head. He played shallow. Couldn't hit a ball over his head. He had a great arm. I mean, in the field, he always got a good jump on the ball. There's just nothing you could say bad about his defense, in my opinion. He was just one of the best center fielder I've ever seen play. And there's plenty of other good ones out there. Just if you watched him day after day after day, how many hits did he steal that would have been just dropped? You see these little Texas League bloopers that go behind second base that are, he was stealing hits from people every day.
Yeah.
And just, making it look easy. It's one of those things where you just expected it of him. You expected him to go out there and make an awesome play and make it look like, that's just what he does. And that is just what he did.
I'm biased, obviously, because I was a huge Braves fan as a kid. So, Andrew Jones. But the best pure baseball player of my lifetime that I've ever seen was Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
I could watch him take batting practice. If I could find a video on YouTube right now of just him taking batting practice for an hour, I would watch it. He had the sweetest swing I've ever seen. And it was just effortless. It looked like he could roll out of bed at 8 a.m. and start hitting home runs at 8:01 in a game. I mean, that kid, man, he was something.
He had the swing that when you were a kid, you were always trying to imitate. I was a righty. Would you get up there and try to, do the stance and do the swing and all that? He just, like you said, he just had an amazing swing. Just so natural, so smooth. Yeah. And hit bombs.
Yeah.
And hit bombs.
Who were some of your other favorite players to watch, non-Braves, when you were a kid?
Let me see. I like Frank Thomas. Big Hurt.
Okay.
He just because he could smash. Let me think. I don't know. I think I think of the people back when I was young. People like Kenny Lofton. He was playing with the Indians a while back. He was fun to watch, especially on the field, fast, go get balls. And fast on the bases. Just his speed alone made him fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you were talking earlier about the big home run chase and all that stuff when that was going on. I mean, obviously I was interested in following it, but that really wasn't, I don't know, that wasn't a huge deal to me. I liked more the strategy and the pitching, I guess. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and all that, I just didn't really, I don't know, it didn't capture me like some of the other stuff did, or get like other people followed it. I guess I just didn't get into that too much either. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a big homer, so if it wasn't the Braves, I'm always going to be a Braves fan, and it would be more Braves that I was following. But like you said, Ken Griffey was up there, and some of those other guys I mentioned. But
was there a team that you hated?
Yeah, still hate the Yankees.
The Yankees, okay.
Just because it's a rivalry. I mean,
popular.
It's just one of those things. As far as the National League, I really don't like the Phillies either. Just being an East rivalry, I don't know. It's Philly, you know.
It's
I
Philly.
remember when they were coming up, it was John Kruk and Lenny Dykstra, and all they had these damn huge wads of chewing tobacco and stuff in their mouth and spit. Just look, you know.
Yeah.
It's just nothing knocking anybody that likes that style. They just I don't know. Seem baseball's more of a gentleman's game type of thing. I like the way the Braves carry themselves with class and that type of thing. And the Phillies just don't know how to do that. So that would be my National League team. I probably can't stand.
Yeah. Do they have the is the DH still only in the American League?
Well, okay. So last year they put in a bunch of, I say a bunch. They put in some new rules for the COVID stuff. They were trying some new stuff. And last year, everybody, American League and National League, had a DH. This year, they did away with the DH in the National League. So it's back to kind of the traditional model this year as far as the designated hitter goes, which I think hurts the Braves for one of their off-season moves. I know they got this left fielder, Ozuna. He's a great hitter. Total liability in the field. If you want to look up some funny bloopers, you can just look him up trying to play the field. And we signed him to a pretty good contract this past year because he was DH most of the year last year and did a great job. He's like I said, awesome hitter. But we gave him a good bit of money, and now that they don't have the DH anymore, with the amount of money we gave him, he's still going to need to be in the game, and we're going to have to put him in the field. And to me, he's a total liability in the field. But that's just going to be something we're going to have to watch, I guess. But yeah, no DH in the National League this year for whatever reason. I decided that.
Yeah, I remember hearing last year around this time, I guess, that once they decided they were going to have a shortened season, that they decided to test out a bunch of like rules changes that maybe they were considering, test out a bunch of things on the shortened season.
Yeah, and I may be wrong about this one. One of the rules they put in I thought was pretty interesting and I actually liked was the extra innings rule. They started putting a runner on second base, and I don't know if they started that last year or if they've done it years past, but I like that rule. That when you go to extra innings, you start out with a man in scoring position, Another attempt, I think, to speed the game, so especially when you get in some of those long extra inning games going, 15, 16, 17 innings. I mean, you're talking 4.5, 5 hour games.
Well, yeah, especially those games that after 9 innings the score is 1-1 or something. You're like, okay, both these teams are cold today.
Yeah.
That's when you see the game going not 10 or 11 innings, but 15, 16, 17 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those things can last a long time. A long time.
Yeah.
What about NFL? You watch NFL at all?
I do. I hadn't really kept up with it. Like I said, I am a homer, and 100% admit that. And the Falcons have just depressed me so bad in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm being a homer and being from Georgia. You just have to get used to the heartbreak in some of the stuff, but I just can't subject myself to the perpetual torture that is watching the Falcons get a lead and then blow it, or just blow it from the beginning and never have a chance. It's just
they took all that to a whole new level last year.
Oh my God! And it's just been so the whole thing they've got going on over there ever since the Super Bowl loss.
Yeah,
it's just I don't even know how to express myself in regards to that. You gotta, they brought in Dan Quinn, who's supposed to be a defensive mastermind. The defense has looked pathetic.
It seems like it's gotten worse almost every year that he's been there.
Right.
Yeah, over time anyway.
And so glad they got rid of him last year, but I just think our program's in such a state.
He should have been, in my opinion, he should have been fired on the spot last year when that onside kick thing happened. Or the special team, that's something that's so bad, somebody has to pay immediately. In my opinion, that's just, middle schoolers know that rule.
Yeah,
that was just unacceptable that an entire special teams unit of professional football players, millionaires, most of them, appeared to not know that they did not have to wait for the ball to go 10 yards because they were the receiving team. And the fact that 2 or 3 of them were just standing around looking at it like it was a grenade and they didn't want to go anywhere near it, that was that's one of the worst things I've seen. And you don't see that in I mean, to see that in college would be bad. You know?
You said that you just can't believe how in the hell what is going on here? How is this happening? How do they not know? You know, it's I would have taken it a step further. You know, I wouldn't have waited that long to fire him. I think I would have cleaned house after that whole Super Bowl meltdown. I think I would have just cleaned house then. I hate to say, but just got rid of everybody and started all over.
Yeah, I think they should have done whatever they needed to do to keep that offensive coordinator. They including making him head coach if that's what it took.
Yeah.
What was his name? Shanahan.
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, I think that's still the best year Matt Ryan's ever had. And you know, he leaves and goes to a pretty bad San Francisco team and gets them back to the Super Bowl in 2 years while the Falcons are busy not recovering onside kicks after blowing a 20-point lead. You know?
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do or how they're. I don't know. Like I said, I've been keeping up with them. I wouldn't say I've been following them too close, just because it's so painful, so painful.
Yeah.
And I know the draft's coming up. I've heard a lot of people asking or talking about what are they going to do in the draft, this, that, and the other. I don't know. They've got so many areas that they could improve on. Just I don't.
How many more years does Matt Ryan have in him?
Oh,
I mean, because we're in an age right now where people are watching Brady and Breeze, and I know Breeze just announced his retirement, but you know, people see Brady and Breeze and they're like, oh, well, Matt Ryan's only, and I don't even know how old he is, 34 or something, or 30, whatever. Brady and Breeze are not, like, that's not about to be the norm. Like,
yes,
that's so far outside the norm. So I think it's easy to make the mistake of going, well, you know, Matt Ryan still does okay, and he's only 34 or however old he is. That's old. That's old.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not saying that he needs to be replaced now, but you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to draft somebody in the 3rd or 4th round, one of these developmental guys, and or some. I don't know. I don't know what the plan would be for the Falcons if Matt Ryan were to go down.
Yeah, and I guess I'm thinking the same way you are. He's only got a few more years of being, you know, a serviceable starting quarterback. I think they need to get somebody in there to start conditioning him and planning for the future. Not saying that he needs to go this year or next year, but he doesn't have a lot of time left to be that level of quarterback that's actually going to be able to get you somewhere deeper, especially deeper into the playoffs or something like that. And I've never, and I hate to say it, but I've never had a whole lot of confidence in Matt Ryan. I know he's talented and he is a good quarterback, but I just I don't know if he just doesn't have that factor where I think he's gonna do it for you. You know, I just don't think he is the guy really, and that's just my opinion. Take it for anybody can take it for what it's worth, but
I'm not by any means an NFL expert. I don't spend very much time even thinking about the NFL, but I do have a general philosophy when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, and I do think that maybe even more than college, quarterback is the most important position on a team, mm-hmm. and it is very hard to find a consistently good quarterback. I mean, somebody that can be your quarterback and be consistently good at that level for more than 1 or 2 years. I mean, you look at people like RG3 had 1.5 good years, and now, you know, the guy's selling used cars somewhere. And there's a million people like that. Yep. So when I look at somebody like Matt Ryan, I go, okay, he's not Tom Brady. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Deshaun Watson. He's also not Jameis Winston. He's not Cam Newton even. Like he's not. In other words, if you have a quarterback who you think is one of the best, let's say 16, there's 32 teams. If you have a quarterback who you think is in the top 16 in the NFL, I think you should keep them, even if they're 16th.
Yeah.
Because the risk of getting rid of, let's say, the 16th best quarterback, the risk in getting rid of that on anyone you draft, anyone, including first rounders, the chance of that person being better than the 16th best quarterback in the NFL is less than 50%. Trevor Lawrence is close to a sure thing. There's no such thing as a sure thing, but he's pretty close. But none of the quarterbacks after him are sure things. None of them. Not Justin Fields, not Kyle Trask, not Mac Jones, not Zach Wilson, not Trey Lance. None of those people. Would you be shocked if Mac Jones ended up not being as good as Matt Ryan? I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Justin. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those people end up not being as good as Matt Ryan.
No.
Maybe they all end up being better. I don't know, but the odds are so long on that. And if you've got one of the best 15 or 16 quarterbacks in the league, it's very dangerous to try to make a change there. The thing about Matt Ryan, and I do think over the course of his career, he's consistently been one of the best, really top 10 quarterbacks in the league most years. That my issue with Matt Ryan is that he's just getting up in age, and the quarterback position is so important in the NFL. I don't think you can wait until a guy can't get out of bed in the morning to go, okay, now we got to find his replacement. And I always point to the Packers, and I know that's not the norm anymore because the NFL is a lot like college. I mean, these people get there, they expect to play, especially if you draft them in the first round, they expect to play right away. But I mean, you look at the Packers, that they Brett Favre, they draft Aaron Rodgers. Dude rides the bench for what, 4 years?
Yeah.
And now he's one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league over the course of his career. And I know that's not the norm. But that it seems like that should be the plan. You should have somebody. And especially when your QB is getting towards his mid-30s, it just seems like you're running on borrowed time.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I agree.
So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
When is the draft? Is it sometime in April? Isn't it mid-April?
Couldn't even tell you.
I think it's mid-April. I think it's after Masters Week, so I think it's mid-April or something. Anybody in the comments know when is the draft? Anybody know? They'll let us know. Comment section knows everything. If you don't believe me, just ask them. Slim Shady Canes, thank you for the super chat. He says, y'all should have seen the look on the valet's face when Lou pulled that sword out of his car. He actually asked me. He goes, what's that? And I said, you don't want to know. And he was like, no, we have all kinds of Comic-Con conventions and stuff up here. He was like, nothing surprises me. And I was like, I said, well, this is for the Slob Olympics. And his eyes kind of glassed over, and I was just like, yeah, just don't worry about it. And I just grabbed my bags and went on inside. But yeah, I mean, I found myself, especially on Saturday, I found myself wondering a lot. What is this person? Like someone would walk by or we'd be in the lobby and I would just see someone sitting in, a couple of couches over or whatever. And what is going through their mind, Because I've been out places. Yeah. I've been out places and seen groups of weirdos, and you can't help but notice and wonder, okay, why does this guy have on an American flag onesie? That guy has on a referee outfit. This guy has blue painter's tape around his forehead. This guy's riding around in a motorized wheelchair with a plastic sword with a donut on the end. Like you can't help but when you see something like that, you can't help but just sit there and okay now, and you try to figure it out. Okay, what are they doing? So I found myself a lot of times on Saturday looking at people and just going, you know, they got to just be thinking, what in the hell?
I tell you, that was some of the that was some of the most enjoyable moments that I can remember being there. I know, especially when we first got out, and you know, you guys were down that side street. There were people at the corner up there. You know, everybody was kind of waking up, I guess, getting going wherever they were going, and people would be up on the corner on the main street, and they look down and see all this commotion. And I know there was more than one person that walked down there, and it's like, what are y'all doing? You know, what in the hell are y'all doing? And then they might pull their phone out. They might, you know, video a little bit and think it was funny. It was just, it was interesting to see everybody's or the different reactions from people, whether it was confused or, you know, disgusted or, you know, just curious or what. It was, it was pretty amazing seeing everybody's different reactions. Not even only outside. When we went inside the hotel, I don't know if you guys realized, you know how the embassy suites was set up. We had the big lobby there, and outside everybody's room going up, there was like a hallway outside the rooms, almost like a balcony type thing. You could look down. At some points, I'd look up, and there'd be 3 or 4 people videoing or taking pictures of the whole group down there, just looking. You know, they were trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. The day we got there, Friday afternoon, and there's some video of this on different people's channels, we were out back at a Roost Chris Steakhouse, and walking down the street at like 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon is a guy in an Easter Bunny outfit and another guy dressed up like Flavor Flav, and then a third person behind him carrying an old school boombox playing like 80s rap, and the Easter Bunny and the Flavor Flav guy were dancing down the sidewalk. And of course we all, oh my God, look at that. And we're all taking pictures and videos. So I'm sure that's what people were thinking when they saw it. When I came downstairs, I knew what we were doing. Like, I knew what I was walking into. And still, when I saw Sea Dog Morgan with a piece of chicken dangling 5 feet in front of his face, I about lost my mind.
Yeah, with the giant pizza roll wrapped around his back.
Yeah, so imagine, imagine you're staying at the Embassy Suites 2 weekends ago for a business trip or a family reunion, or you flew into town to spend the weekend with your parents or whatever the case, and you get up Saturday morning, you come downstairs to eat breakfast, and that's what you see. Like, it had to be like, what in the hell is happening here? You know? Because I thought that, and I knew what I was walking into. Yeah. So I can only imagine what was going through some of these people's minds when they would see us.
Especially when you juxtapose it to the All-Star crowd. I think it was definitely a head scratcher for some people. Is what is going on?
Well, yeah, because it's one thing to see like a group of weirdos throwing shoes in the street. You might just think, well, these people are out of their mind. But then when you see another 30 people that are just congregated around watching, it almost gives it. And there was a lot of, everybody had their cell phones out, and then there was a few people with actual cameras. So when you drive by and see that, it gives the appearance that it's something important happening here. Mm-hmm. Or else why would all these people be? A crowd attracts more of a crowd. If I'm walking down the street and I see something weird happening and no one is standing around looking at it, I'm not likely to be the one person that stops to stare. But if I'm walking down the street and I see something weird going on and there's already 15 people standing around, I'm very likely to then stop and become the 16th person that's now standing around and watching. And that's what was happening. We had the group of 15 or 20 of you guys that knew what was going on and showed up for that specific reason. But then there was all kinds of random people that would just be walking down the street, or in some cases driving down the street, and they would pull their car over, or they would cross the street to come over and see what in the hell is going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. And the people that were there were several people that came out, and I think they just came out outside the restaurant to smoke a cigarette and just got enthralled in what was going on, and they would just sit there and watch after they got through their cigarette, like trying to figure out, what are they doing? or just maybe they were just entertained by it. It was definitely entertaining to sit and watch. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was something.
Yep. Definitely, I was like I said, looking forward to next year. I'm hoping that, and like I said, I'm expecting it to be bigger and better next year. So,
yeah, we're working on it. Me and BBD and Pete have been batting some ideas around, and we're going to try to get. I mean, we don't have to have all of the details ironed out, but by April we want to be able to announce a place and a date. I mean, that's what we did last year around May or June. I think we said, okay, Atlanta, March 5th, 6th, and 7th, and that's all we knew. But we went ahead and told everyone, and then everything else we kind of just filled in along the way, the events, all that kind of stuff. And it's the same thing here. We want to give people as much notice. Okay, this is where it's going to be, and these are the dates, and then we'll sort of fill everything else in. And we're going to get input from as many different people and stuff like that as we can. But in the end, you need a few people to actually make the decisions, or else no one will ever agree on anything. So it's going to be in Tennessee for sure. We've decided that. Me and BVD kind of came up with the idea. Pete jumped on board pretty quick. So we did it in Georgia this time, not because I live in Georgia, but the reason we picked Atlanta is because it happened to be about halfway in between me and BVD. So we said, well, let's do it in Atlanta. But because we ended up doing that, this year we're going to do it in Tennessee, where BVD lives, and then the third year we'll do it somewhere in South Carolina, where Pete lives, and move it around from there. But it's looking like it's probably going to be Pigeon Forge. I think Pigeon Forge, Nashville seem to be the two most popular suggestions. And I think it's leaning towards Pigeon Forge, but we'll figure it out for sure here sometime in the next few weeks. Yeah,
stay tuned and find out.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I know we're going to be wrapping up here shortly, and I got a few things that I want to talk about. Not necessarily football. I know I sent you something about football and all, but we'll get to that sometime later, maybe. But I wanted to shout out Celine, tell him happy birthday. Say it was good to meet him at the Slob Olympics, and also I need to apologize to Celine for something that happened at the Slob Olympics. When we met, we like I said, we got there early, shared some donuts, and we were sitting there talking. And it was me and the Friction Vixen, and she thought Celine was Sleeta. And I let her believe it until she had walked in one day. You were playing something, Sleeta, the video of Sleeta getting in the hot tub with his little red undies on.
Yeah.
Well, she walked in when I was watching that, and she was definitely had some questions, obviously.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, this is a Sleeta guy." And okay. So they kind of went past that. Well, she just misheard Celine's name and thought it was Sleeta. And I just let her believe it until sometime during the events where you were calling out people's names, and she's like, "Oh, that's Celine, not Sleeta." I was like, "Yeah."
That's hilarious.
I'm sorry, Celine, if she was putting off some weird vibes early, that might be why. So,
Sports Live and the ATL driver.
But happy birthday, Celine.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Today is his actual birthday. He came on the show yesterday, but today's his actual birthday. So yeah, happy birthday. Celine, y'all give Celine a happy birthday in the comment. Oh, Celine says he's offended. If there was ever a legitimate, I know it's like against the law to be offended now. It's like the worst insult if you, everyone's easily offended. And that's always a huge insult. If there was ever a reason to be legitimately offended, it's being mistaken for Sports Live and the ATL. So you have every right to be offended, sir.
Oh, you can take that up with Friction Vixen.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
She was a little confused, but I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. And
man.
also on a different subject, I know the photos. I heard you had some questions about the photos up yesterday.
Oh yeah,
that are
specifically
scrolling across the screen.
Specifically, well, I have a whole list of questions just about the hot dog picture, but number one, why? Number two, does she? I guess she was okay with you sending that in.
Well, Lou, I know you met her at the Slob Olympics,
yeah.
and I don't think it would be wise for me to send that in without getting permission.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Figured that.
Yeah.
Is there any type of story behind that picture that you want to share?
I know we were. I can't even remember the game, but we were hanging out cooking stuff for the game, and that's not a hot dog. That's actually a pepper. We were making like stuffed pepper poppers.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like a tongue in some of the other pictures, but she's just acting silly. So, and I just think that's a hilarious picture for whatever reason.
Oh, it's definitely hilarious.
But yes, I definitely got permission. I did not want to tote an ass whooping for sending that in without it. Yes. And
let's see.
Yeah, some of the other ones. That's me and my little girl at spring G-Day game. One of them. And
what is the one with the? Is this a St. Patrick's Day picture?
Yeah. That's the other one, the green beard, and just a PSA to anybody out there: if you're gonna let anybody spray paint your beard, it'll damn near suffocate you. I don't know if you've ever had somebody.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it's a hairspray. You know how they make the stuff for Halloween?
Okay,
like the temporary hairspray.
That's what I was going to ask. I thought you meant you legitimately spray painted it.
No,
okay,
definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. Would not be down for that. No, this was some of that. What do you call it? Just some of that. Halloween hair dye in a can type stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff will choke you. Don't do it on your beard. It will choke you out.
Yeah. You need one of those respirator masks on.
Definitely.
Spray that all over your face, yeah.
Didn't quite think that one through, but yeah, that's my St. Patty's Day picture, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there that celebrates that. I know that's tomorrow, and don't go overboard on the green beer, everybody.
And you said this one at Sanford Stadium is at a G-Day game?
Yeah, yep, that's a G-Day game. That was my daughter's first G-Day game. That's a great, I know you've mentioned this before too, man. That is always an awesome thing. I don't know how it's going to be this year, but I know when they were just having them regularly, that's always an awesome thing to take your family, take your kids. It's to me, like when I normally go to a Georgia game, it can be pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's definitely a lot more laid back atmosphere. And just a good thing for the family.
Yeah.
So,
well, and again, and I know, and this is the internet. Everyone's millionaires. I get that. It costs a lot of money to go to a Georgia game, and unless you went there and you have unless you get season tickets, and even to get season tickets, it costs a lot of money because you got to donate a minimum amount per year and all this kind of stuff. So I don't have any of that. So if I want to go to a Georgia game, I got to go to StubHub. And to see Georgia play Louisiana Monroe is $150 a ticket.
Exactly.
And so when you start talking about taking kids there, especially young kids, you have to do a cost-benefit analysis. Do I really want to take a 4 or a 5-year-old to see Georgia play Auburn for $300 a ticket when he's not even going to remember it by the time he's 8 years old?
Very true.
I mean, like I said, I know everyone's a millionaire and everyone has season tickets and everyone sits at the 50-yard line in the comment section. I know that. But back here in reality, it costs a lot of money to go to a Georgia game. So I took my kids to some games when they were younger, but it was Louisiana Monroe or these non-con, where you can sit, in the corner of the end zone for $75-$80 a ticket, something like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the bigger games, like the Georgia Clemson game, I'm going to try to go to that. Me and Pete and a few other people. I can't take my kids to that. I just can't afford it. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, not that when I say I can't afford it, it's not that I don't have the $300 or $400 to buy them a ticket, but it's a matter of I mean, that's just a lot of money to pay for a kid to go to a game, in my opinion. You know,
I'm
to someone
in
else
the
that
same
maybe
boat,
not, and that's fine. That's where the G-Day game is amazing, because a kid can get the tailgating experience and the experience of walking into the stadium and going through that archway and looking down and seeing the field, and you can get all that stuff for none of the cost. And it's an amazing environment. The spring game is. It's not like anything else you can go to. It's really something. I say it every year. If you have not been to a Georgia spring game, I don't care if you've been to 1,000 real games. Go to a spring game, especially if you have young kids. But even if you don't, it's so much fun. All the ex-players you see walking around. It's really not like anything else you can experience. It's so much fun. As far as this year goes, I won't be going again. They're limiting capacity, and the tickets are only $10 a piece. But by the time you have to buy them on the secondary market, it's just going to be ridiculous, I'm sure. And there's no tailgating, so whatever. Let's say the game starts at 4. There ain't no sense in getting there before 3:30. Yeah. And that, I have more fun at a spring game before I ever walk into the stadium than I do while I'm at the game. So I'm just going to sit this one out.
I'm the same way. We used, we'd get there early, and it's kind of a time to reminisce. I used to do this here, used to do that there. Go in the bookstore, buy some little things and that type of thing. And it's just, I don't think it's going to be quite the same this year, but I'm still looking forward to watching it.
And we have to remember the most important thing when it comes to spring practice and the spring game. Whether there's 5,000 people there, 0 people there, or 100,000 people there, the coaches are getting the same thing out of it as they would either way. Like, we're going to at least have a normal spring practice this year. So as far as team preparation and all that goes, this is it's going to be back to normal. They have 3. They have 3 spring games a year. It's just that the fans are only invited to the last one, and that it becomes a big deal, and it's televised and all that, and I get that, and maybe there is something to, especially if the freshmen who early enroll, it's their first time playing in front of, depending on how many people show up, 50, 60,000 people or more or whatever. So maybe there is some benefit to that, but as far as practicing and team preparation, and the coaches are going to get the same out of this with 10,000 people in the stands as they would with 100,000. So that's the most important thing to me. We're getting back to normal as far as the teams go.
And the teams and the coaching, getting some of this stuff installed, getting it, ingrained, and getting ready. Just getting more about the preparation for next year than the fans. But yes.
Well, I got to get out of here. It's after 10 o'clock already.
Yeah, me too. I got to get back to work, man.
I really appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you on again now. I did this on purpose, so now you have to come back on to talk about the injuries and the rehab and all that kind of thing. So
and that'll probably go a little bit better after the spring practice. I'd like to see how these guys, and try to get some reports on how they're doing at spring practice. Even though some of them aren't even going to be able to participate. But we'll. I'll definitely. I've enjoyed it, man, and I always enjoyed good talking to you. And we'll do it again.
All right, Grayson. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it.
All right. Yep. All right. Same here, man. Go Dogs.
Grayson, man, he's becoming one of my favorite people to have on. I like him. I need to get an update on the guy that broke his leg, Marcus St. Rosemy Jackson, or whatever. The guy's got 19 names. He changes it every year too. He used to just be Marcus Rosemy. Now he's got like 4 other names. And he broke his leg on the touchdown pass. What's his status? I wonder. I doubt we'll see much of him in the spring, even if he's cleared to play or whatever. I don't see why you would. I don't know how much we'll see of him, but it's time to start paying attention to that kind of stuff with spring practice starting tomorrow. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Golden Blue Dude, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm surprised we didn't get metal detected and strip searched before the opening ceremonies. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't just get honestly harassed more than we did by people. But anyway, appreciate all of you tuning in. No morning show tomorrow, although I will be on tonight for the college football call-in show, Uncle Lou After Dark, 10 o'clock right here on this channel. We'll take phone calls for an hour or so, see what you guys want to talk about. It should be some good calls with a lot to talk about with spring practice starting up for everybody. So, you know, we don't from the middle of January to the end of August, we don't have very many opportunities to talk about actual football. But for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we do, with spring practice going on. And I know it's just spring practice, but when you're going 8 months without any football at all, just spring practice becomes a pretty big deal. So we need to take advantage of this and make sure we spend as much time as we can talking some actual football over the next few weeks, and then we can get back to some of the more pointless, brain-dead type stuff that we normally do around here in the off season. Slim says PayPal. Let's see. All right, Sea-Dog, Morgan, and Slim. I've got you down for the bracket challenge. Don't forget, if you weren't tuned in earlier, in the description of this video, there is a link to one of these NCAA tournament bracket challenges or whatever they're called. It's free to enter, so click the link, sign up. The password and all that's in the description of the video. Get signed up. We'll see who can win. It's free to do. If you want to win some money on it, me and Pete are doing a prize pool. He's doing it on his channel. I'm doing it on my channel. We're going to combine it into one, though. And it's $5 per person, winner take all. So you just send $5 to my PayPal, or if you're watching Pete's show tomorrow, send him the $5, whatever. We're going to combine the two prize pools, and it's going to be winner take all. I got you down, Slim, and Sea-Dog. And Georgia Forever and Celine from earlier this morning too, and then we got the ones from last night on there. We got Mike Reiser on there. So anyway, we're starting off with a pretty good list here. So this is good. So I got both of y'all down. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll be back tonight at 10 o'clock for the call-in show. I hope to see you there. Hope you all have a good Tuesday. If you're in Georgia, be careful to have some bad weather in different parts of the state today, but maybe some other states too, and I just haven't paid attention. So anyway, if you're having any type of bad weather today, be careful. And I hope to see you tonight on the call-in show. Have a good morning.